Hey there, it's Matt again from Thrive Themes. Today we have another super special Thrive member interview coming at you with Colten owner and co-founder of ResuPress.com. Now, ResuPress is a cool website that helps people who want to learn Japanese learn it to a business level proficiency, which is to say that they can actually get a job with a Japanese company and then go work in Japan. ResuPress also focuses on helping those people who actually get a job and work in Japan with things like getting good housing, financial services, and networking opportunities once they're there. So in this video, you're going to hear Colten share his story and how the journey of learning Japanese to this level and getting a job with a Japanese company in Japan actually sparked the idea for his current online business, ResuPress. You're also going to hear how Colten's need to completely rebuild his site in early 2019 on a super shoestring budget led him to go all in on the Thrive membership so he could modernize his e-commerce and e-learning businesses all by himself on WordPress. My conversation with Colten covers all sorts of topics, including how quick and easy Thrive Theme Builder's site setup wizard and WooCommerce integration made it for him to immediately publish a pro-looking site and start taking orders for his products right away. We also talk about how simple Thrive Architect's smart landing page templates and smart block templates make it for him to keep creating new content that always looks like a team of pro developers built it for him. And finally, we even discuss how Colten's lessons learned from our SEO Sprint Premium course inside Thrive University helped him build a site structure and content plan that is now reaping some serious organic traffic rewards. As an expatriate who lived and worked in Japan myself, I know how difficult yet rewarding the journey of learning Japanese and working in Japan can be, and I only wish there was a website around like ResuPress back then to help me along the way. So without further ado, here is Colten and his Thrive membership built website, ResuPress.com. All right, hi Colten, welcome. Thanks for talking to us today about your website and your online business, ResuPress.com. And
My pleasure.
Could you just start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your website and your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So back in 2014, I was studying Japanese. I was in university, I was studying Japanese. My intent was to go to Japan and work, and opportunities living in Canada at that time to get a job in Japan were few and far between. So I figured my best, case I could make was to be really fluent in Japanese and, compete on that level with Japanese natives for the same kind of job market. And as part of my study challenges I was running into was there was no really great resources that I could find that were easily accessible, especially in Canada. There's a lot of resources in terms of textbooks and stuff that you could buy if you were in Japan, whatever. And I kind of sat down one day and I thought, I could just make this. I could make what I need. And basically I sat down with a friend at the time. We were both studying Japanese together and said, let's do all the kanji, because this is this kind of thing. If you're not familiar with Japanese, I know you are, Matt, but perhaps some of the audience isn't. There's 3 alphabets. 2 of them are phonetic. There's hiragana, katakana, and then there's kanji, which has over 2,000 characters, and it's borrowed from the Chinese language. So those are the really complex characters that you see in Japanese. And it's probably the biggest hurdle, I think, for most non-native Japanese speakers or non, Chinese Asian language speakers to learn. So yeah, we just decided that we're going to put together all the kanji in this thing and put all the pronunciations, because there's multiple pronunciations per character, and all the English translations. And it was this major kind of task for us. And we weren't sure where we were going with it at the time. But we put it together and we looked at it and said, we just had this massive list in Microsoft Excel at the time and said, this is crazy. Like, we should sell this. We built it for us basically to be able to study, but how can we format that in a way that people, could partake and access that information? So we reached out to a graphic designer. This was, 2014 was still kind of the early days of the internet as far as I'm concerned. And it was like our first kind of major transaction on the internet to reach out to this random graphic designer in Ontario, Canada, and said, hey, here's this big list of Excel, data. And obviously you're not a Japanese speaker, so, ask us any questions, but we want to make this into a poster. And 3 months of back and forth with this graphic designer who didn't speak Japanese, was a complete mess, but we ended up with a really great product at the end, and it got polished, and we ended up with this kind of 2-poster set of Japanese, alphabet. And so we're sitting there with this file going, okay, well, great, we've made this product kind of, what do we do now? How do we sell this? And neither of us had any web design experience, had any experience whatsoever with the internet, really, besides Facebook and YouTube at the time. And we said, okay, well, let's build a website. And we were using it's kind of like an all-in-one site builder e-commerce solution at the time, back in 2014. And it worked, and we put the site together, and it was pretty bare bones, it was pretty scrappy, and it was just kind of like, here's a poster, please buy it. And we announced on Reddit, and it took off, and it's been crazy, and people love the product. They purchased it from all over the world. So there I was sitting in my living room, rolling posters and putting them in tubes and shipping them across the world, basically. And I sat there, and again, this is before I even was working in Japan, going, this is amazing. Like I could quit my job potentially if this took off. And it was just kind of the spark that got me into like, wow, all I did was, put information together and then package it nicely, and I built a website, and people bought it, and I'm getting money in my PayPal account. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So at the time, I was still studying Japanese. We're doing this kind of thing, and eventually I got a job offer to go work in Japan. I attended the Boston Career Forum, which is like a big kind of work in Japan career forum for people in North America. I ended up working with Hitachi Automotive Systems. This was my first job there in human resources, of all things. Lasted there for about 1.5 years before I finally kind of gave in to Japanese work culture. And then I moved into marketing. I started in market research with a foreign firm, and then I moved into digital marketing consulting. And I was working like with Philip Morris Japan, and I was doing a bunch of stuff, and I was like, in and out every day with websites and huge audiences of 5 million plus. And it was a crazy experience. But at the same time, I had all these posters sitting back in Canada, and the website kind of dwindled, I would say. I didn't do very much with it for about 4 or 5 years.
And how did you build your first website?
The service that I was using was called Jimdo. And Jimdo is, they're still around, and it's like I said, it's kind of an all-in-one, it's like a precursor to Shopify almost. Like it's like drop your blocks, set up your e-commerce, put your products in, and there you go, you kind of have a website, but it's not very flexible. And so part of the problem at that time was I never loved the website. Didn't like the way it looked, didn't like the way it operated, didn't like the way it felt or anything, and I couldn't do what I wanted to with it, and I felt very kind of constrained. And so here I was, consulting digital marketing with huge company in Japan, and I had this kind of crappy website, and I was going, oh man, like if I could just take some of my time and some of my knowledge that I've gained over the last 5 years here and put that into my own product, basically, what could I do, right? And so I ended up getting married and moved back to Canada, and then I took on a position as a VP of marketing at an e-learning company here in Canada. And I've been doing that for the past just a little bit over 2 years. But at the same time, this April, so about 7 months ago now, we relaunched ResuPress on WordPress with Thrive Themes. Was able to do some really cool things with it with the Thrive Theme Builder. I kind of had this waiting period where I was waiting for the Thrive Theme Builder to come out because I wanted that ultimate flexibility to be able to build the way that I saw fit. So as soon as that came out, signed up, got the membership, and yeah, built this website. And it's in the last 7 months, it's really taken off. We're into tens of thousands of dollars of revenue now with a single product. So $30 at a time, just rolling posters.
And that's the poster you sell on your WooCommerce site, or on your WooCommerce part of your site. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
That's incredible, actually. I mean, I know actually having lived in Japan and trying to learn Japanese as I lived there, and I was there as an English teacher, but learning the kanji and finding like good books or good posters you could hang up on the wall, seeing your product, I was like, if I had this product in my hands or had it available back in 2007, 2008 when I was there, I would have gobbled that up in a heartbeat. And also your website, your website really stood out because the current version of ResuPress.com, it's just gorgeous. The branding's beautiful.
Thank you.
The even your opt-in forms, the slide-in boxes with the little GIFs. I really recommend people check that out because it seems like you took the templates available in Theme Builder and Architect and things, and you were able to piece together just a gorgeous site. And
Thank you.
Maybe you could just tell us about that experience, because it sounds like you were really frustrated with the original version of your site and how you went from that to when Thrive Theme Builder came out, building what you have now.
Yeah, I'm a self-admitted non-creative person. I'm about as creative as Microsoft Paint lets me be. So I have a partner in Tokyo who is he's a designer. He's more of an illustrator, and he's really into the branding and kind of like putting together the feel and the kind of voice and the tone and everything of the site. He's an American guy, and the two of us kind of sat down and said, okay, what do we want this to look like? And his name is Benji, and Benji and I were looking at everything else that's out there in terms of Japanese education tends to lean really heavily on like the samurai, Mount Fuji, sakura flowers, kind of like that aesthetic, or the anime aesthetic. And it's been really overdone in my opinion. And so we're looking to like really stand out in this space because the Japanese education space and the living in Japan space is, I wouldn't say saturated, but it's established at this point. And so as a newcomer into this kind of space with a new website, we wanted something that was very fresh and vibrant. And we started looking almost at like 1980s, 1990s, kind of like old album covers and anime kind of covers and stuff like that, and looking at kind of that little bit aggressive, little bit street, little bit kind of funky, older Japanese merchandise for inspiration. And so that's kind of where we got our color scheme from, especially in the in-your-face pink of my pink website.
and that, I have to say, it can be a color that people can do wrong, but I think you guys really pulled it off, and now it stands out, but also looks really good and welcoming. So I feel like you guys really nailed the branding.
Thank you. It was in large part, I would say, due to Thrive Themes Builder. One of the templates, the wizard basically at the beginning asks you, what's your brand color? And we had just established we had our kind of trifecta of colors. I hadn't intended for pink to be the main brand color, but I just put the hex code in there to see what it looked like. And it auto-populated the whole website with that color. And I was like, oh, I kind of like this.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
That's kind of where I wanted to be. So we ended up with this pink website, and just as a one-off kind of chance happening, it worked out, and we just run with it at that point. In terms of kind of the font and the logo and the branding and everything, being in the marketing space, I'm a connoisseur of lots of different blogs and content out there, and I particularly like Neil Patel's website and the way that he's put that together. It's very clean and succinct, and he's got nice. I always felt it was very easy to read, and part of that was the font. And so I went on a bit of a quest to try and track down the font that he was using, which is a paid font called Geomanist, and searched that down, paid for it, put that on the site. It's now, not trying to reinvent the wheel, basically, and taking some parts and pieces from different areas that I've, encountered. And I was like, wow, they did that really well. I like that. Or, I thought that was cool, and trying to kind of just incorporate all those elements into our site.
Very cool. Very cool. What would you say the biggest, problem or struggle was that you hit, and maybe Thrive Theme Builder or the Thrive membership set of tools helped you overcome getting to the current state of the site?
I think, again, as a non-designer, I'm a marketer by trade. And so I like selling things, and I'm good at, buying media and driving traffic to pages that convert. I'm not necessarily the person in my career who's been the person who builds the pages. So having Thrive Theme Builder, especially I think in the latest iteration with all the blocks that are available, I may not know exactly what I'm looking for. I know kind of basically the content I want on the page, but I don't know how it needs to look to convert really well. Even though I've, interacted with and seen thousands of, really well done pages. So having access to this kind of library of blocks that I can just kind of piece together and play around with, and then customize really easily, has been just the complete game changer for me to be able to quickly put up pages and make it feel authentic and professional and polished. Again, like I see so many sites out there that the content is great, the concept is great, the execution is just a little bit lacking, or a little bit, I don't want to use the word amateurish, but it just doesn't feel polished, and you lose a lot of trust, I think, with that, and authority in your niche. So being able to put together something that feels like maybe 5 people worked on it when it was really just me in my basement, it's a really huge benefit to be able to do that. And that's only because of Thrive Themes.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
You said in the last 7 months, things have really taken off.
Yeah.
I guess, can you lead us through that moment where, I guess I'm not quite sure where you kicked off the Thrive Theme Builder part of your site in those 7 months, but maybe lead us up through that moment where you kind of realized things were working for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So January of this year, January of 2020, somebody had bought our poster, and this is before we had Thrive Themes really, like the Theme Builder especially installed. Somebody found our website through SEO, just kind of organic traffic. They bought the poster, they went on Reddit, and then they put a picture of it up on Reddit, and they had laminated it and put it over their bathtub. And it took off on Reddit. And so all of a sudden we had this crazy amount of traffic coming in. I had, 20 sales over 3 days, and I was going, what is going on? What happened? And I've tried to track down the source of it through Google Analytics. And I found that this had happened. And I said, oh my God, like, it's true. When people find this website, when people find the product, they like it. But I'm not super proud of how the website looks at this point. And this is January, right? So I got in touch with my designer friend in Tokyo, and the two of us sat down and we went through that process and said, okay, well, we need to make something that's great. And here's kind of the pieces we want to live on there. And I said to him, okay, well, I've been watching Thrive, I get the Thrive emails all the time, and I've been hearing about this theme builder is coming out. And this was in now February, March, and it was kind of just launching at that time. And I said, dude, the thing is launching. Like, let's just get it. Let's build our own website. Let's build, let's make this great. And the two of us kind of sat down, we looked at it, and we really had no cash flow at the time besides those initial sales in January, which we had kind of burned through. And so it was like, okay, man, do you want to are we going to throw in on this and just go all in on Thrive and make that our kind of core purchase that's going to take this off, which we did. And yeah, we were able to very quickly put up the site, quickly started pumping out some content to try and kind of double down on that SEO thing that we had going. The SEO, I can't remember what the name of it is, like the quick SEO course that Shane had put out.
SEO Sprint.
That's the one. Yeah, we purchased that as well. And so basically we said, okay, well, now we're going to silo the website. And that's where it really clicked. And so it's kind of like this combination of everything all happening at once. And going through the SEO Sprint course and seeing, okay, this makes a lot of sense. If you silo this content, then we know exactly what our focuses are, because we had like 7 or 8 categories to start with. And I was going, this is just getting crazy. Like, I can't keep up with 8 categories. But when you narrow it down to 3 and you kind of have this journey, basically the whole kind of idea of siloing gave us the sense of like, oh, well, this makes a lot of sense as a user, as our audience. You learn Japanese, then you work in Japan, and then you manage your money. And so it's this kind of whole life cycle process. And that was really, again, probably would not have landed on that had it not been for taking SEO Sprint course, taking a really hard look at our categories and paring away a lot of the fluff and stuff that we didn't need, and really honing in on just areas that mattered.
Okay, cool. And are you creating quite a bit of content now based on the SEO Sprint framework and content creation calendar?
Yeah, I am. So I've got, not published yet, but I've got a backlog of probably 30 articles that are written that I just need to format and get my images and everything and publish. And so I'm going to be rolling that out over the next little couple months here. But yeah, so absolutely the SEO Sprint framework is the framework for our website. Cool. It started to work. It's SEO takes a long time to kind of kick in terms of getting some traction, but it started to pick up. I check in SEMrush quite often, and we're basically in the last 3 months, I would say out of the last 7 months of effort, we're starting to see ranking more and more keywords in the top 3 and the top 10.
Excellent, and hopefully that'll pick up as you publish more content. It'll kind of steamroll.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Yeah.
How long did it take you to feel like you had all of the tools you needed sort of to get ramped up to feel like maybe a power user of the tool or competent with the tool?
That's a really good question. I've been using Thrive Architect specifically since about 2017. I had some kind of test websites, first when I started making websites on WordPress and trying to figure it out. And initially I was using a different builder, but I came across Thrive Themes at that point, and I was like, oh, this is great. I get it. Drag drop. I can, change padding and margins and all this type of stuff. So it's tough to say in that sense, but it's a really easy learning curve, especially with Thrive Architect. More so now than ever before. Like the fact that you could just drop in content blocks and styles boxes and all sorts of stuff makes it really easy to see what you can do with Thrive Architect specifically. I think the biggest challenge with Thrive Architect for a non-designer person coming into it is like, it's just, there's so many things you can do that you're not sure where to start. And so being able to take something and kind of play with it a little bit is a lot more effective, I find, than starting from zero. Now I can basically start from zero with a page and you know, kind of replicate what I've encountered with the templates and stuff. But yeah, I think the huge library of template landing pages, of templated blocks, of templated, you know, forms and call to actions and everything that Thrive offers. I've given it to people who, you know, some of my staff at my company that I worked at, I've given it to them on our WordPress sites, and they were able to kind of get up and running with Thrive, I'd say, like within a week.
Wow,
really effectively.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. And are you finding the Thrive Theme Builder site wizard really helps with that too, to get things set up quick?
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like building a theme is not something that the average person does. And so there's a lot of things that go into building a theme that you probably just don't, you know, you just assume or take for granted. Like, what does your footer look like? Oh, I never thought about that before. Do I need 4 columns? Do I need categories? Do I need, like, what do I have there? Again, seeing the templates really lets you kind of step back and go, oh, okay, yeah, that feels really on brand for what we're trying to do, or that makes a lot of sense, or I would never do that, but I could take this piece of that one and kind of put it together. And so again, just having this, like, focusing just on footers is a great example of an area that Thrive does really well, where otherwise you have to have, you know, 30 tabs open and you're looking at your other favorite sites that you've encountered and like trying to, you know, analyze their footers and take pieces that you like and put it into yours. The Thrive, you know, Builder Wizard, it's a matter of minutes. It's really crazy, actually. I've since building ResuPress, I've also built a number of other sites for other people. And it's just a very, very quick process.
And you feel that those sites, like in just a few minutes, they look great. Like people are impressed by them.
Yeah, and you might have things that you want to tweak after, but as an out of the box experience, it's tough to get that from other solutions. I've encountered a number of other page builders and e-commerce solutions. Like I played with Shopify quite a bit. It's very user friendly for, you know, complete newcomers to the scene, but you end up with a site that looks like it was specifically a Shopify site in that example. The thing with Thrive Themes is you end up with a site that just looks polished, but you can't really, as a non-user, you can't tell that it's like those are templates or something. It just feels like the person who was building the site was very competent.
And the smart color feature, so because most of these new templates, blocks and templates that are coming out are smart color enabled. Do you feel that that really helps your building workflow and time commitment?
Huge. I feel a little bit spoiled at this point when I import like a new form or something and the buttons just automatically adopt the global colors in a really nice way. Yeah, I feel like I don't even need to work anymore. It's just like, oh, okay, you know, contact form, it's done.
Yeah.
And of course, you can edit that and make it a little bit more kind of custom, but for the most part, you really don't need to. Yeah,
you can just grab a template, tweak it to fit your needs, and then it's ready to go pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah, the global colors is huge.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
What would you say is the favorite thing about, or your favorite thing about ResuPress that you built?
Favorite thing? It's a good question. I think the landing page, which is not accessible as a link on the site, but I do have a kanji poster landing page, which I'll share the link after, was kind of like I was looking at ClickFunnels at the time. I thought, I don't want to invest in another tool. I don't want to like overcomplicate my ecosystem here even more. I know Thrive is very capable of building a landing page. Am I? And so it was kind of this like test for myself, and it's gone through a number of iterations, and I've tweaked it and I fine-tuned it. Basically, I've got this landing page for my Facebook ad specifically that is at this point a really fine-tuned machine for converting, and it's got a very specific mobile view and it's got a very specific desktop view. But that was it's been like a labor of love. I'd say that page alone has probably had like 50 to 60 hours of my time over the last like 7 months.
Actually, what plugins and other than Thrive Theme Builder, which is your WordPress theme, which Thrive plugins are you using on your site, or are you actively deploying on your site, I should say?
Yeah, so I've got Architect, Theme Builder. I've got Thrive Leads currently running the little kind of Giphy opt-in thing, which is nice. The big thing that we're building in the background and the huge push for 2021 is my experience in the last year and a half with e-learning has completely transformed the way that I view e-commerce and the future of learning for people. It is amazing. And so to have an LMS plugin in this suite of already great products is mind-blowing. Basically, it's just a business package all in one. So our big plan here in 2021 is to really deploy Thrive Apprentice and drive a ton of course content. And so I've got people in Nagoya, I've got people here in Edmonton building courseware for us right now, and we're going to be launching that, I think, early January, February here this coming year. And yeah, I think Apprentice is going to be the huge game changer for our site and for our users too, to be able to access better info in a more concise manner very quickly and from the comfort of wherever.
Cool. And you are going to love some of the updates we're rolling out for Apprentice over the next few months.
Cannot wait.
Yeah, that's
I
one of
keep
our
hearing
big
about
focuses.
it.
Yeah, we can't share too much, but I mean, we've got a big rollout and coming out, and so I think you're going to really enjoy that, especially as you move more into online courses for your business.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited about that. Literally can't wait. So,
cool. As the last question, what advice would you give to your younger self just getting started in marketing and online business? What, if you could sit down with your younger self, what would you tell them?
That's a really good question. The answer for me is very clear. It would have been create content. Like, I wish I had been creating content more consistently from 2014 until now. Would have been probably in a much better place. Content is king. It's amazing. Yourself as a content marketer, you get it. The more content that you produce, you can get rid of old stuff, you can tweak it, you can change it, but you can't go back in time and create it in the first place. And so you're always kind of behind the ball if you're not constantly creating content. And that's been the biggest challenge that I even face, today, is like, where do I get the time to create content? But again, having taken the SEO Sprint course and really understanding, like, okay, if you just have these 3 categories, you can really just narrow down and attack those. You make your list of topics. I've got a backlog now, which is a place I've never been before. I wish 2014 me had a backlog of content to have attacked over the last 5 years. Yeah.
Cool. Is there anything else you want to share or tell people, or tell people about your website?
In terms of stuff about the website, no, I'd say just take a look through it. Like, we've done, I used your tutorial specifically for some of our content pages. If you look at our contact page, I'm quite proud of that. We, very effectively mimicked what I was seeing with the Thrive tutorial, which I just thought looked and felt really professional. And again, it's not about reinventing the wheel every time. If I see something nice elsewhere, there's nothing stopping me ever with Thrive themes from like making it for myself. And so that's been the biggest benefit that I've had, I think, is being able to just very quickly, very effectively start from the halfway point with everything. I don't have to start from zero all the time. And it's very daunting when you open up a page. So yeah, Resupress is a collection of what I've seen elsewhere, and tutorials and courses, and piecing together everything that I've liked from, my career as a marketer, trying to put it into my own kind of language, brand language. Yeah, our other big push besides the e-learning is our social accounts this year. We've started a series on Instagram doing Japanese daily one-shots. And so we take a sentence, we break it down. Yeah, for anybody who's interested in learning Japanese, we're trying to focus and build a platform for people to connect them with Japanese language and cool opportunities and the information that they're going to need to live their best life there.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's been one of the highlights of my life, getting to live there for 2 years and learn Japanese, live in a completely different culture, and Japan's just such a cool, special place as well. So anybody interested in learning Japanese, I highly recommend it. And it sounds like your site is going to be an awesome resource for people just getting started, or maybe even in the thick of learning and moving into the more intermediate, advanced stages.
For sure. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. All right, Colten, well, thanks so much for spending the time to tell us about your website and your experience with Thrive Themes. I guess we'll check in the future, see how things go. Sounds like you've got some exciting new products and updates and that new content coming out. So we'll be looking forward to seeing that.
Cool. Thank you so much, Matt.
Yeah, thank you.